Next section of MCQ on macroeconomics deals with demand for money theories. Okay, we'll start with the first question. Arrange the following theories in chronological order. Again, it's a chronological order question where either you can use the logic or you need to by heart the years in which it has established. Okay, using the logic, you know that quantity theory of money, which was first formed by Fisher. So basically, they're talking about cash transaction approach. Okay, so the first one has to be quantity theory. After that, we know that cash transaction approach. After that, cash balance approach came. So restatement, something have to be restated only after quantity theory have introduced. So after that, only restatement of quantity theory might have appeared. Right, so using logic can also appear. Income theory, which has been brought by Keynes, so after the classicals only Keynes theory would have come. So like that, you can use logic while you are answering this question, or you have to study the dates. Okay, you know that quantity theory of money is cash transaction approach introduced by Fisher in 1911. Cash balance approach, which has been introduced by Cambridge economists like Pigou, Marshall, and Robertson. Everyone has their own version. 1917 to 1923. Then comes reformulated quantity theory of money by Keynes. Okay, so he was not satisfied with the quantity theory given by classical, so he reformulated it in 1923. Inventory approach by Bohmol 1950. Restatement of quantity theory of money by Friedman in 1956. So reformulation has been done by Keynes and restatement has been done by Friedman in 1956. And portfolio approach, which gave importance to uncertainty and a risk factor, by Tobin in 1969. So the answer has to be D, where it is 3, 4, 2, 1. Okay, moving on to the next question that has appeared in 2014 UGC NET paper. Again, it's a chronological question where they have asked Cambridge version, Fisher's version, Tobin's version, and Baumol's version. Just now, we have said that first it has to be Fisher's model, then came Cambridge version, then came Baumol's version, and then comes Tobin's version. So the answer has to be B, that is 2, 1, 4, 3. Okay, moving on to the next question. Speculative demand for money is a function of. So this is Keynes' demand for theory, right? So he believed that speculative demand for money depends upon income, rate of interest, profit, or saving. It has to be rate of interest. We can see that according to Keynes, his theory is liquidity preference theory, where he considered that people hold money. People desire for liquidity. So demand for money basically means that how much money is being kept in your hand. How much money are you willing to keep in your hand in a liquid form? So, according to him, there are three motives for them to keep the money in their hand. First has to be transactionary motive, which depends upon income. Next is precautionary motive, which also is directly depending on income. As your income increases because of uncertainty, you keep more money in your hand for precautionary purpose. Next comes speculative thing, which depends upon rate of interest. They keep more money in their hand, which is indirectly related to rate of interest, because when rate of interest falls, people keep more money in their hand. Suppose the rate of interest of a bond or equity have reduced, why should people go and invest in that? They will wait for interest rate to go up. Till then, they will keep money in their hands as liquid, in liquid form. So that is why rate of interest and money demand for speculative purpose is inversely related to each other. So the answer is 2, that is rate of interest. Next question, which has appeared in 2013, is an assertion reason question. According to Keynes, individual hold either cash or all bonds. That's an assertion. Reason why they do that. So we know that Keynes believed that individual cannot hold both cash and bond. That is why that speculative demand theory happened. If the rate of interest is low, they will keep the money in their hand. They are not going to diversify their holdings by putting something in bond and then keeping cash. They are not going to do that. According to Keynes, he believed that individual either hold cash or bonds. They will wait till the bond prices go down or rate of interest go up. Okay, so that is absolute assertion is true. Coming to the reason, because why people do that? Because speculative demand for money is associated with uncertainty. We know that just now we saw in the previous question that speculative demand for money is related to rate of interest, right? It entirely depend upon the if rate of interest fall, demand for speculative demand for money actually rises. So it is not correct. Uncertainty, if it has been question is So precautionary demand for money depends upon uncertainty, yeah, then that is true. But here they have given speculative demand for money, then that cannot be the reason. Okay, speculative demand for money actually depend upon the rate of interest in the market, not on uncertainty. Right? So here the question can be, answer can be option 3, that is A is true or is false. Next question. An increase in quantity of money in classical macro system will result in. Okay, that means there is an increase in money supply. When there is an increase in money supply, according to classicals, only nominal things changes. Okay, nominal variables like price, nominal wage rate, all these things can only change, not any kind of real variables like output, unemployment. So classicals believe that when there is an increase in money supply, it will only increase nominal variables, not real variables. Okay, coming to the question, when there is an increase in money supply, what happens? So 3 cannot be option, 4 cannot be option, because we know that classical doesn't believe in real variable change. So level of output and unemployment and all are not at all even considered. So we are left with 1 and 2, that is price level. Either there has to be an increase in price level or there has been no change in price level. So what happens when money supply increases? When money supply increases, supply is already constant because they believe in full employment. So output and employment cannot be changed, and they believe that such things cannot be real variables cannot be changed, it is constant. So it will only put pressure on price. We know that supply is vertical to the y-axis, which is constant. So when there is an increase in demand, when money supply increases, more people have more money in their hand, so actually demand increases, that will only put pressure on price level increases. Whereas I have also given the Keynes version. Keynes also said that there has been an increase in price. End result is both same for classicals and Keynesian. Both believed that when there is an increase in money supply, price rise will be there. But the kind of chain reactions that happen is different. Because Keynes doesn't believe in full employment. He says that when there is an increase in money supply, it will actually change rate of interest. Rate of interest will reduce because rate of interest reduce. What happens when rate of interest reduces? People are they are now easily, loans can be available, so investment can increase. When investment increases, producers produce more, production increases. For producing more, they will employ more people, employment increases, and more people will get more wages and salaries. As income increases, when our income increases, automatically demand increases, which will lead to price increase. So both classicals and Keynesian believed in inflation, but in a different way. Right? So the answer is 1 and 3, because level of output also doesn't change. Okay, that also can be the answer, because they say that it doesn't change. Right? Yeah, real variables doesn't change. So classicals believed that price will change and real variables will not change. Okay, I was a bit this thing. So 1 and 3 can also be the answer. Next, we are moving on to next question. According to QTM, main determinant of supply of money is. So we know, just now we said that when there is an increase in money supply, that will change. Does it change output level? Does it change income? Does it change investment level? All these things are real variables, whereas price level is a nominal variable that can be changed. The answer is 1. Next is a match the following question, where list 1 gives certain equations of quantity theory of money, and list 2 is given has given certain economists associated with. We need to match them. So there is only one way to do that, is study the theories, right? So the theory goes like the Fisher's theory. We know that it is MV equal to PT, because Fisher considers that money is only used for medium of exchange. And according to him, when there is a change in money supply, there will be a proportional change in price level. There is a direct proportional change in price level and an indirect change in value of money. That is MV equal to PT is Fisher. I think you have studied all those things. Right, next is quantity theory of cash balance approach, Cambridge version, which has been given by different economists like Marshall, Pigou, and Robertson. Marshall's theory is M equal to KPY, where M equal to quantity of money, of course, and K is that proportion of money that people hold. That is proportion of nominal income that people hold with them. Okay, y is income and p is price level. That is, again, that is a py is nominal national income, so he is considering everything in nominal terms. That is Marshall. Where Pigou's version, where he considered it in real terms. Okay, p equal to kr by m, right? Or it can be m equal to, at different, accordingly it will change. Okay, and here k is the proportion of income that people hold in their hand. R is the real income. So he is the one who has brought the real concept under classicals. And next version under Cambridge is Robertson, where m equal to pkt, where t is transaction and k is that amount of real income that is kept aside by people to do the transaction. Okay, so now you can easily match the following from the code. So the answer is 4, where a equal to 1, a equal to 2, b equal to 4, c equal to 1, and 3 equal to thing. Okay, you can easily match once you understand the theories. Okay, moving on to the next question. M equal to pky, where k stands for m equal to pky. Whose theory is that? M equal to pky, it is Marshall's theory, right? So under that, what is it? What does k stands for? Fraction of real output held by transaction? No. So Marshall is the one who has considered only nominal incomes and nominal variables. Fraction of money supply held by person? Money supply held by person, that is also a thing to think about. Fraction of money value of output held by public. So the answer has to be 3, where it is, you can even see in the theory that k is that proportion of nominal income that is held by public in their hand. It is about nominal income, which means money value of output is being considered. Next, we are moving on to the next question. Under the cash balance approach, m equal to kpy. Again, Marshall's theory. Who has given it? It is Marshall. Very easy, direct question. 2019 question. According to cash balance approach, the elasticity of demand for money, okay, is equal to 1, less than 1, fluctuates with changes in phases of inflation, is more than 1. Which will be the answer? So now elasticity of demand is assumed to be always equal to 1, because when there is a change, we feel that there is a cash balance approach. They say that when there is an increase in demand for money, there is a decrease in price level. That is what they say, right? And that change happen proportionally. If there is a 1% change in cash balance, it will lead to 1% change in price level. Only in price level. They said that there is no change in real variables like output and employment. Okay, so there is a proportional direct change in money supply and money demanded and price level. If there is more money, cash balance is being kept, same level of changes of prices can also be seen in the economy. So elasticity of demand is equal to 1, right? If it is greater than 1, then change has to be non-proportional, that is more price level can be expected. So now elasticity is equal to 1, that means proportional change can happen between demand for money and price level. Okay, so the answer has to be 1. Consider the following statements. Liquidity trap is a situation when people prefer to hold money rather than invest. Liquidity trap is a concept given by Keynes, right? Liquidity preference is a situation when people prefer to invest money rather than hold it. It is just opposite to what Keynes have said. Like Keynes preference theory, liquidity preference, he said that people always have a tendency to keep cash in their hand rather than invest it at particular situations or according to particular motive. Moving on to the third statement, liquidity crunch is a situation of short supply of money in money market. Credit crunch is a situation of short supply of money in loan market. So anything crunch means what? There is a shortage. If it is liquidity crunch, that means money shortage is there. Credit crunch means there is a shortage of loan. So those two statements are absolutely correct. We are going to the first statement, that is liquidity trap. Liquidity trap is a situation where people feel that or they feel that rate of interest are going to go up. They will wait for rate of interest to go up and then invest. They believe that it could soon raise, because as rate of interest go up, they believe that the bond price, because bond price and rate of interest have an inverse relationship, bond price will go down. They will wait for that bond price to go down and then they will start investing in bond. Until and unless, they will just keep the money as liquid form in their hand, which will lead to liquidity trap. Okay, so people avoid bonds and keep their fund in their cash. That is what is this liquidity trap is. That is what a speculative demand is all about, because there is an inverse relationship between bond price and interest rate. People always prefer to hold cash and expect rate of interest. Let the rate of interest go up, then I will go and invest, is what people believe in. So first option is entirely correct. So which of the following statements are correct? Almost everything. You can see that option B, liquidity preference is a situation when people prefer to invest money rather than hold it. No, liquidity preference is where people prefer to hold cash rather than invest. It's just opposite statement has been given. So the option B is wrong. All other statements are correct. A, C, D is correct. Only B is wrong. Inventory approach to transaction demand suggests that transaction demand for money is. Okay, this is again related to inventory approach is related to Baumol. Right, so Baumol's inventory approach, where she believes that people always have a cash balance with them for doing transaction, and there is a certain amount of money forgone by them because they could have invested it there, foregoing that interest. So there is a cost for holding that money, is what believed by whom? Baumol. Okay, so she believe. I always have this tendency to consider Baumol as she. Basically, Baumol is male, I guess, right? So transaction demand for money inversely depends on rate of interest and directly with income. Baumol actually agrees with Keynes, telling that income and transaction demand for money is directly dependent. That is same as that of Keynes finding. When it comes to rate of interest, she say transaction demand for money is inversely dependent on rate of interest. So inverse, because individual always have they will always keep an optimum inventory, optimum cash balance with them for transaction purpose. Okay, which actually is inversely related to rate of interest. If rate of interest is going down, they feel like, why should I go and invest there? I'll keep the money in my hand. So if rate of interest is going down, transaction demand for money will actually go up. People feel that it is not profitable for them to go and invest in bonds or equity. It's better for them to keep it in their hand. Okay, so for which they will incur a cost also, like an opportunity cost. They have to forego the interest. If they have invested it in bonds or equity, they would have got interest. They're foregoing it and keeping it in their hand. Okay, so that interest income foregone is the cost of holding money for transaction purpose. So the answer has to be 4, where it is negatively related to interest rate. Okay, it is positively related to income and it is negatively related to transaction demand for money. According to Baumol, is inversely related to interest rate. Option has to be 4. Moving on to the next question. Friedman's modern quantity theory of money concludes that changes in aggregate spending are primarily determined by changes in. Now that comes to next quantity theory of money, that is Friedman's uh, theory of money, where he has restated. According to him, demand for money depends upon, demand for money is equal to supply, money supply. So basically, when we are talking about demand for money, automatically that means we are talking about money supply as well, because they believe in that equilibrium of money demand and money supply. Okay, so M, where demand for money or money supply depends upon various factors like income. W is ratio of non-human wealth and human wealth. P is price level. Right, then it again depends upon return from bond, equity, and even the inflation. Right, then U is taste and preference. Coming back to the question, what is changes in aggregate spending are? That means basically aggregate money demand or changes depends upon, basically depends upon money supply. Right, next we will start multiplier and accelerator. First question. So basically I've started multiplier and accelerator. The whole this thing is basically related to an application level, where they've just asked the question where you need to apply the formula and answer. So it's basically you study the formulas, it's very easy for you to get these answers. Multiplier formula is K equal to 1 by 1 minus MPC, that is investment multiplier or income multiplier, where 1 by 1 minus MPC or 1 by MPS is the answer. We have one by one, we will see all these things. Okay, first question. Multiplier is a ratio of multiplier What does multiplier indicate? Is it change to income, change to saving, or income to investment, or capital to output, or money income to real income? So it is basically changes in income to change in investment. We know that whatever changes has been bought in income, how much is the change in investment? I'm sorry, just opposite changes. If there is a change in investment, how much of level of change in income is being depicted, is being shown through multiplier, right? Impact of expenditure, that is impact of spending or investment on economy, how big is it going to happen, how big is it going to happen or change the GDP or income is being shown through multiplier, where they consider MPC is positive. MPC plus MPS is considered to be 1. So MPC is equal to 1 minus MPS, that which comes to the formula K equal to multiplier equal to 1 by 1 minus MPC, or K equal to 1 by MPS. So the answer is 2. Right, moving on to the question which has appeared in 2018 July. If marginal propensity to import is 0.1, so once the concept of import and export and all is included, that means they are talking about open economy multiplier, right? So they have given marginal propensity to import, they have given marginal propensity to consume. We need to find out multiplier, which is very easy. Just substitute it in the formula of open multiplier formula, which is K equal to 1 by 1 minus MPC plus MPM. Just substitute it. We know MPC in question, they have given MPC, they have given MPM. Just substitute it, where you will get the answer 2.5, which is option 3. Now another question which has appeared in 2016, where to list match the following. List 1 they have given some MPC, list 2 they have given the value of multiplier. We need to match which MPC is with. Only thing you can do is substitute in the formula, right? You can substitute in the formula and then find out the answer. It's very easy, like 1 by 1 minus MPC, just take 1 by 1 minus 1 by 1 minus 0.2. What is the answer? Match it with that. Okay, so it's a very direct, easy to score questions related to multiply.